Okay, so I just start the server. Okay. So today I am going to show you one topic which is related to the provisioning, right? So yeah. Okay. So you remember last time we created this account, right? Like go to access requests. Some accounts we created for Brandon, create new account on LDAP. And yeah, I think only one request. Okay, we can create more requests. Manage access. First thing is I want to find out those users who don't have account on the uh, this application system, right? LDAP. Okay. What I'll do, I'll go to here application and consultants. Search identities where we don't have application account LDAP. Application is not equal to name of that application. LDAP. Copy the exact name and pass here. Add this filter and run search and at the same time also select this. What attribute you need. So we have total 30 users, right? Let's say ME. Okay. For ME, it's basically a orphan account, but we'll use here. So for ME, what I'll do, I'll go to manage accounts. I'll select this user, manage, request account, LDAP, submit, confirm, submit. I have to fill the form, password of this user, full name, first name, last name. Okay, user DN, the DN of that open that app application. DN format, example, this is the DN. LDAP, this is the DN, right? Copy this as it is and pass it here. Instead of Aaron Nicholas, I'll upgrade this to Ami. Okay. Make sure LDAP is up and running. Let's verify that. LDAP is working. Okay. So I click on OK. Now see the access request. Access request waiting for approval. I'll forward approval to myself. Forward this to myself, SP admin. My name. Forward. Click on view. Approval. So this way user will get the account. Provisioning, you see. We have submit two requests, one for Amy, one for Brandon, right? Few user who already have account on the LDAP. You go to LDAP application. If you click on the accounts, here you will see all those accounts which are coming from the LDAP applications, right? So here, let's say Aaron Nicholas, right? So let's say Aaron Nicholas is one identity in the system, right? This person has first name, last name, email, right? All these attributes are also used here to create LDAP account. Given name is first name, SN is last name, UID is full name, right? On the track also, first name, last name, username, email. So different attributes from a user are used in order to create account, right? Now, the concept I want to show you, let's say this Aaron Nicholas. This Aaron Nicholas want to update the name in the HR system or basically in the organization. So what this person do? This person will reach out to HR team and ask to update my last name. Right? HR team will follow their process and finally they will update the user last name. So let's say Aaron Nicholas, who is the current ID in the SailPoint, will ask HR team to update the last name. So HR team will update the last name. When the next day aggregation will trigger, you will see HR name, HR team, whatever last name they have updated here, that is also reflecting here. So let's say Aaron Nicholas is Aaron ABC. So Aaron ABC is here. In the next aggregation, Aaron ABC is also here on the IT warehouse. But what about the account which are created for Aaron Nicholas? On those account, the last name of Aaron Nicholas is still, the value is Nicholas. We want to also update this value. There are two options. Delete this current account and assign a new account with a new last name value. This is totally wrong because this way we'll lose the complete history of that account. This way we have to assign other access on that account. So we have to find out a way basically through which we can only update the attribute on that account instead of creating a new one. So this process is called attribute synchronization. So when SailPoint update the attribute on the existing account, so this process is called attribute synchronization. SailPoint is syncing the attribute. Okay. For this, what we need to do, go to global setting, identity mapping. Example, whenever last name change in the organization for a user, that you also want to reflect on the target system. It's LDAP. So open the last name field. And here you see the source mapping we did last time. Now this time we'll do the target mapping. Add target. Which application? LDAP. Which attribute you want to update? SN. So SN stands for last name in LDAP. Add this. So basically, whenever an ID who have any identity, basically the SailPoint, last name will change. SailPoint will do the target mapping. Basically, SailPoint will update the user as an attribute on the target application LDAP only if user has account on the LDAP. Okay, save this. So this process is called, you see, last name attribute sync. Now attribute sync option is there. Now let's open this user. VM data of the employee, and search here for this user, Aaron Nicholas, or any user basically, but I'll choose here Aaron Nicholas. Let's say Aaron Nicholas name I'll change to Aaron Mills. Save this. So last name, if you see, last name attribute we have changed. So last name attribute we have also did mapping here, last name, right? Now what will happen next day? So let's say HR team update this user last name here in the HR system. So next day morning, HRMS aggregation will trigger. Let's run the HRMS aggregation now. HRMS aggregation 916 finished. It took 1 sec, within the 1 second, basically it update the one user, Aaron Nicholas. Let's go to that user, Aaron Nicholas. You see, last name is modified here. First name is still Aaron. Last name is modified here. Means we want to reflect this last name on the LDAP account also here. Still using the last name Nicholas. So for this, what we need to do, we have to just run this, configure this mapping. And after that, we need to run the refresh anti-cube task. Last time we used this option to assign role. Now, in order to trigger this attribute syncing, we have this option called synchronize attribute. Select this, save and execute. Now SailPoint will check if any user who have LDAP account, because we have done mapping only for the LDAP, right? Any user in SailPoint who have LDAP account, SN value on the LDAP and last name value in the SailPoint, if it is different, SailPoint will push this current last name value to the SN. Let's check the task result here. Refresh anti-cube is finished. Provisioning request triggered 1. Now this type of provisioning request is triggered from the SailPoint task. So it will not come here under access request. Access request will only show you those requests which you have submitted. This is triggered from the backend. This you can only view from the admin console. Check this. Provisioning, modify LDAP account for Aaron Nicholas. Sources ID refresh. It's not because of LCM. Click on information. This account is updated. Set SN value to Mills. Committed. Now go to the identity. SN is Nicholas, right? Refresh this. You see, and SN value is Mills. And same is also updated on the LDAP system. So through this process, basically, we can sync the attribute. SailPoint will always check the int attribute, if required to be pushed down to this target system, SailPoint will update that based on your configuration, whatever you have defined here. Any doubt question here, anyone?
Rahul, how about the username? Like, it doesn't make sense. We have a different last name, but the username is having Nicholas. So we have to modify the source file.
So here we have less data. So because of that, I use this, this use case, last name. Generally, we never update the first name, last name, and the email, right? And let's say in case if it is required, so we have to also handle this username also. If you see here, we still have username equals to Aaron.Nicholas, right? Here also CN, correct? Still using the old last name, correct?
Right.
So what we need to do, we have to do more mapping here. Add target, again LDAP. Which attribute we want to update? Let's say UID. UID. But if we simply select UID, what will happen? Whatever the value of last name here, it will copy and it will set in here on the UID. But we don't want to do this. What we want to do is we just only want to replace this part, right? Update this part. So for that, we have to write a rule here, a transformation rule. Transformation rule is basically the value which SailPoint will try to put here. It will copy this last name from here and it will try to put here, right? On the target system. That value want to transform. So here we'll write a transform rule here. So the transform, what we'll do, we only replace this part. We'll keep this first part as it is, Aaron dot, and the last name will replace. So it will become Aaron dot Mills. So from the one attribute, you can do multiple mapping.
For email change also we required the same thing, Rahul,
This is a
because
standard process through which data flow, but you will not be doing this for like
in
basically we
real
will not
time.
be changing first name, last name, email, right?
Yeah, right.
Correct. But this is just to show one example because we have less data here. So that's why I have to use this last name.
Sometimes there will be a chance to change the last name for that.
Yeah, there are chances. Correct. It's
Yeah, because
majorly very less chances, but there are chances that the last name also we are updating in the system.
so at that time we need to transform all that email, username, and
Yes,
everything where
yes.
we need to write the transformation rule, right?
Right, right.
Okay. So if you're writing that transformation rule, it's applicable for all the attributes.
No, no. If you write the transformation rule, it will be appended here. If you see the transformation rule for this is blank. Okay. So here you don't have any transformation rule. So whatever rule you will define it, that will only work for this particular field and the mapping.
Okay. So if I want to add another target system, can I add a number of target systems here?
Yes, your target system you can update because as of now we are updating the one application system, right? Let's say same way we have to update last name on 10 other application systems. So you can do 10 other target system mapping. Totally doable. There is no restriction here.
Got it. Thank you.
That is the main purpose. An identity attribute is modified here. You want to flow that changes into 10 different target systems. So for that, you will use this attribute synchronization process. Any other question here, anyone? Okay. So if you see, I mentioned that day we have two modules, right, in SailPoint: compliance, LCM. In the compliance, we have policy and access review. Right, in the LCM, we have access request and automation. Okay, in the compliance, basically this policy. What is this policy? In order to use this both module, we have to always onboard the application, because first we need data within our tool. Then only we can apply some function, some feature, right? So application onboarding is required in all SailPoint project. After that, based on your project scope, you will be working. Like for example, right now I'm working in one project where they are not using this LCM at all. Okay, they are only focusing on the compliance because that is the priority of that organization, right? But that is very rare. Generally, every customer do both thing together, right? So coming to the compliance, so this part is we have covered already. We saw how can we submit the access request. Coming to the compliance, in the compliance we have a policy, right? Policy basically some kind of a condition, right? We want to apply on our R&D and their access, right? So here when you go to setup, you have policy tab. Here we can create new policies. There are different type of policies are available: role SOD, entitlement SOD, and effective entitlement SOD. Okay, this SOD is basically the most widely used policy, and especially the entitlement SOD policy and the role SOD. Apart from this, other are not used because this complete module is very less used in compliance. Access review is their main feature, and most of the customer purchase the SailPoint tool because of their access review, right? So the policy, we have one policy, so I'll cover this today. Entitlement SOD policy. What is the meaning of this? Let's say we have organization in which we have an application system called track. In the track, we have 4 different access, 5, right? 5 different access. So if you see, let's understanding meaning, approve, a person who can approve the request in the track system. End user request, who can use this track system. Input, who can enter the timesheet, right? Reject, who have the reject power. Super admin, right? Organization says that at a time, user should not have input and approve access together, same time basically. Any identity in the SailPoints or any identity in the organization should not have this access together, right? What will happen? Organization says that if any person who have this input and approve, both access assigned same time, so what the person can do, person can submit the wrong timesheet and approve, automatically, because the person has the approved access. So in the large enterprise, basically there are chances that some people can misuse this, right? So we have to make sure that we are not giving any kind of access that can create this kind of issues. So we have to avoid giving this access. So organization want to create this policy. So this type of conditions is called SOD, segregation of duty, where we are making sure that user can have one access but cannot have both access together. So we are maintaining this segregation. So for this, we have to use entitlement SOD policy. When you define the entitlement SOD policy, define the policy here, let's say track the policy. Now, if any person who have this both access, so that is called policy violation. Now, policy violation needs to be handled by some person in the organization who will handle this, who will fix this issue, right? So that is called policy violation owner. Who will be the owner? None, no one. Identity, let's say security officer name is James Smith. So James Smith will handle all the policy, or every identity's manager will handle this, or in some complicated process we can write a rule. 99% this is what we use, manager. Manager is a violation owner. Description of your policy optional. State, make it active. Okay. SOD policy rules, create new rule. This is name, description, all this. Here you see two entitlement set, first entitlement set and second entitlement set. Basically, the one which will be conflicting with each other. Application gets a track. Add attribute. Which attribute? Capability. Approve. In the second entitlement set, again track. Which attribute? Capability. Input. As of now, I selected one entitlement here and one here in the second entitlement set. You can select multiple entitlement from multiple application. There is no limit here. SailPoint will simply compare both set A and set B. SailPoint will compare. If any user have access on both set, it will mark conflicting. It will mark policy violation. Click on done. Now go down. See, any of this entitlement capable to approve conflict with any of this entitlement capability input. If you want, you can define more attribute. SailPoint is just going to compare set 1 with the set 2. If any user have both set assigned same time, SailPoint will mark policy violation. Save this policy. Policy is saved and policy should be in the active state. Go to setup. Now, Now, how can we apply this policy? There are two mechanisms. Deductive approach. It is preventive approach. What is the meaning of this? Deductive approach means scan all the user in the system and check if any user is violating this condition. So that is a deductive approach. For that, what you need to do, go to task. Again, same task, refresh empty queue. Go down here, remove this option. You have to check the policy. So there's an option here, check active policies. Now refresh anti-queue will scan all user and it will check if any user is violating this policy. So INT examine 194. Policy check, trackability policy. How many violation created? 48. 48 users are there in the system who are violating this policy. How can we view the policy violation? Go here, policy violation. You see 48 violations are coming here. All these users who are violating this policy, Aaron Nicholas, trackability policy. Assigned to whom? Administrator Y. Open the Aaron Nicholas. You see, this user has both input and approve. Right now, policy violation detected on this date. Assigned to administrator Y. When we define the policy, we selected policy violation owner, manager. But if user don't have manager assigned in the system, so Aaron Nicholas, there is no manager. So that's why it's going to administrator. But let's say Amanda Ross. Amanda Ross, owner is Jerry Bennett. Because Jerry Bennett is the manager of this user. Now, Jerry Bennett is responsible to handle this violation. How to handle violation? Login from Jerry Bennett. I will change the password here. I'll go to incognito. I'll log in from Jerry Bennett. You see policy violation 3. So there are 3 identities in the system who reports to Jerry Bennett. Out of this 3, there is one Amanda Ross. All these 3 violating the policy, right? So now you see there are 2 options, allow and the revoke. Allow means okay, this user is violating this, but you still want to allow this access for 1 month, and you can provide comment here required for user. You want to maintain this access. In order to actually handle this, that process is called remediation, revocation basically. When you click on the revoke, it will ask which entitlement to revoke. In SOD, basically there are two entitlement assigned to the user, right? Which is conflicting with each other. So it will ask which entitlement to assign. Let's say if I say, okay, this user should not have approved access, revoke it. Save to receiver. Now this one I will review. Let's say mark it allow, or let's say let's revoke this input. So now SailPoint will go for revocation. So I have completed my policy violation here. So open items are 0. All 3 are done. 1 is allowed, 2 are revoked. To go here to this screen, admin screen also. You'll see here, complete 3. So this way SailPoint handle the policy violations. Okay. Any question on this part? Anyone?
Rahul, can we change the owner, like manager from admin to some other person?
So if you see here, there is no default option available, default owner. So we cannot change this.
In real project, if we don't want to assign it to admin, then in that case, we can assign.
Then we should use the rule actually. In that case, we have to use rule. Let's say you say that, okay, by default, manager should be the violation owner. But if manager is not defined, it should not be SP admin. It should be, let's say, James Smith, right? So that option, if you see, it's not there. So in that case, you have to use a rule. Whenever we have this kind of a condition which cannot be handled through this default option, we have to write a Java code here. Through Java code, we have to handle this.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
Rules or basically this Java code is only required when we are not able to handle the requirement with the available default options. Any other question here, anyone? The second approach is called preventive approach. What is the meaning of this preventive approach? We have defined this entitlement SOD policy, approve and input, right? Any user who has this both access, SailPoint will create the policy violation. What about if user already have input access, but now going to manage user access and request for approve? That is also going to create a policy violation in future, right? So why we give this chance to the user that, okay, you can submit those requests which are actually conflicting with each other. So we have to stop user that, okay, user should not be able to submit requests which will create violations, right? So that approach is called preventive approach. For this, we have to make some change here in the workflow. So if you remember last time I mentioned that whenever you go here, manage access, manager access, you submit. SailPoint call that workflow. So the workflow name is, you can check here. Business process, request access, LCM provisioning. So we do have this workflow called LCM provisioning. Open the business process. So workflows are also called business process. Open LCM provisioning here. You see the process variable. This is approval section. So by default, SailPoint also generate approval, right? Approval to the owner. So that is because of this setting. If you go down here, this is the notification setting. And if you go down here, you will see this policy setting. So what is the policy setting here? Continue on policy violation. Click on this drop down. So we do have 4 options here, right? So the first option is disable policy checking. Don't check whenever someone submit the request, don't check the policy. That is the first option. Second option is check the policy, but continue in policy violation. Even the violations are there, continue. Don't do any changes. Third option is present failure to requester. Present the issue that, hey, you are submitting a request which is going to create policy violation.
right? Last one is a failed workflow. Immediately fail the request. So for last two are called basically preventive approach, in which basically we are preventing user to submit the request. So we use this third option actually, because if we fail the workflow, what will happen? User will not be able to understand, okay, why my request is failed. So we use this third option, present failure to requester, because when end user come to SailPoint system, right, they should get meaningful message, okay, why they are not able to submit the request. So for that, we use this present failure to requester. Use this, save this. Also provisioning saved. Now pick a user who have one of this accesses assigned. Let's say track accounts. Yeah, Albert Woods. So Albert Woods is one identity who have input access assigned on the track. So what I'll do, I'll assign the second one, approve. Right. So
Let's go here. Manage access, manage your access. Albert. Next. Input is already assigned. I'll request for approved. Filter, entitlement application, track. Apply this. Input. You see, cannot add access item. This item is already assigned because input is already assigned. I'll request for approve. Next, I'm adding access approve. Submit this. You see, policy violation will occur. This rule. Violation did. So this is how SailPoint stopping me to submit this request. So this is called preventive approach. Any question here, anyone?
Rahul, I have a question, because here we are selecting single applications, but when we are like it's multiple applications, or like we are, if you want to set, how we will do that?
Means you are selecting multiple app entitlement sales from different application for same user.
For the same user.
Input words. Search. This is what you are saying, right? Requesting 4 different access, correct?
Yeah, but here, like, my question is that, like, in policy, entitlement SVT policy, we set only for that, track application. Okay, but here, we want to select that to check that policy violation for other applications as well. In that case, how we will execute this one?
If you have defined for track, it will work for track only, right?
Yeah.
How it will work for other?
But if I want, because one I
See,
didn't have
if you
that.
want, you have to define it first, right?
We are different. So because if we depend on other application, again we have to define another policy.
It's not depend on the other application. It's the access belong to track. If you want that conflicting access not to be requested, you have to create a policy.
Okay, so I want to be conflict to track as well as that JD. LDAP. In that case, how I need to do that?
This is what I mentioned. In one policy, you can select entitlement from multiple application here when you're defining this rule, right? It's not mandatory that this is track and this is also should be tracked. No, any combination.
Okay, got it.
Multiple entitlement from multiple application you can select. There is no limit here. Any combination you can use that. Okay, user should not have capability input and same time user should not have DPA from finance. Any combination you can use, anything.
Okay, got it.
There is no limit here, no restrictions. SailPoint will simply going to compare entitlement set 1, entitlement set B. That's it. And in this case also, it will tell you the violation that, okay, this access is creating the violation issue. So you have to remove this, then only you can able to submit this. Here you can select any entitlement from any application. There are no limit. SailPoint will allow you. It will simply compare first entitlement set and second entitlement set.
Rahul, in some cases, there'll be thing like user can select an entitlement. It will create an access request and it will go for manager approval. Based on approval, user can get the access, right? In the access request, they'll be having the error saying that policy violation has been detected. So it is basically based on manager if they want to approve the access or not. Like in our organization, this is the case.
No, see, approval part is different. Okay. Approval is different. And some conditions like violation is different, right? So basically, organization say that, okay, we have some standard, and based on that standard, all requests that we are generating, right, that should go to manager approval, right, first. Or if it required, that will also go for application approval. Let's say we need 2-level approval for all the requests. So that is the approval mechanism, approval process they are setting up, right? This is different thing. This is basically not approval. This is a violation that, okay, user cannot hold these two access together. This is a different thing from the approval. Because when you're sending the approval, right, let's say I'm your manager, you're requesting one access to request for approval and input together, right? Maybe I am aware of the policy of the organization or not. I can approve it or I can cancel it, right? So this action is totally dependent on the human. But here it's not, this action is not dependent on the human. We have defined the policy. Now this software technology, it will work and it will every day, it will check. Any user is violating this policy, it will simply notify. So we need a software process which will check this condition, conflicting access. Approval is different thing.
No, at least they can select the entitlements, right? In that case, because it will the users can
Yeah,
select.
this is what I show you, right?
not
User can select the
provide.
entitlement here, right?
No, here it is throwing an error. In that case, the error will be thrown in the access request. They can
So
select.
that option is also here. You see, submit with violation. The violation
Right.
is coming, still you want to submit.
Okay, got it. Yeah, this is what I was looking for.
Yeah. So now request is submit, but in the request, everywhere you see the violation message. You see?
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
Correct. Now this approval, we configured email, right? Last time, let's open that email. They will also get this message in the email. Open this. I think on the email they will not receive, but when they will open the work item approval, right? That time they will see this message. This is the one, right? This for Albert Woods. Let's say if I forward to myself, now I'm the approver, okay? So as approver, you see, it will show me the violation found. Track custody policy. इसके अलावा डाउन कर रखा हूँ. Okay. Any other question here, anyone? Just give me 1 minute. Okay. Any other question here, anyone?
Silence is no, it seems to be Rahul.
Okay. So there is one topic. Let me cover this too. This is not very important topic, and I'm thinking to remove this from the course content. Okay. Branding. The look and feel. Yeah.
Rahul, can you just throw a little bit on advanced policy, light on that?
Oh yeah, the advanced policy. Okay, let me tell you this. Okay. Policies. This is your SODs. Okay. Then we have one account policy also. What is account policy? In this, you don't have any control, nothing. It's completely predefined. You have to just provide a name here. No customization we can do in this policy. Simply save this, make sure it's not disabled. What this policy does? This policy will simply pick all the entities and it will check if any entity have multiple account on same application. That's it. That's it. No other thing you can control. Let's say I just want to scan only for LTAP. I want to list down those users who have multiple account on the LTAP. No, you cannot filter that. This will run on all users and on all application account policy. Okay. No customization, no filter, no rule, nothing. Okay. There is advanced policy here. Okay. Advanced policy is different from this one, SOD. In case of SOD, we have this two mechanism, right? Advanced policy is different. Advanced policy is basically just your detective approach. Preventive approach functionality will not work. Advanced policy is basically, let's say, we want to scan all the user and we need to check which are the user who have not logged into SailPoint in last 30 days. And same time, they also have not logged in on their or let's say their status is active user who have not logged in into SailPoint from last 30 days, right? We need to consider those user as a violation, right? For that, we don't have any option, we don't have any policy, right? So for that, what we need to do, we have to use this advanced policy here. Here, create new rule. In the rule, we have selection method. That's it. How you want to select those criteria basically, right? Can you define through this match list? If yes, do this. If not, use some filter here, script Java code basically, or use a rule. Rule and script both are same thing. Only difference is code cannot be reused. Rule code can be reused. This is the only difference. So let's say I want to write that condition. So here I will write the condition on the INT. All those INT who have not logged into SailPoint from last 30 days and their status is active, if this condition match, return true, return the violation. So that is your advanced policy, where we don't have any standard criteria.
So this one we can use for the dormant accounts, right?
For a dormant account, yes, you can use, correct.
Basically.
Yes, right.
Okay. So for getting a dormant accounts where we need to write only rule, or we can write in match list also, can we get
Match list, yeah. If you can do through the match list, you should do through match list. First priority should be always given to the SailPoint default feature. So default feature is match list here. You just simply use this selection criteria and you submit this, right? But let's say you cannot use this, right? So in that case, you have to write a rule, Java code basically. Everything we cannot do through the out of the box option, right? So we might need to write the Java. So we'll use the Java code for that rule.
Okay.
Anything else you want to know?
as of now that's in only. So because I want to check how we will check the dormant accounts. So
We go here, applications. Okay, yeah. So the topic I was talking about, that is branding, the look and feel. So if you see here, right here, you see the SailPoint logo, right? The SailPoint blue color theme, navy blue color theme. The logo here also SailPoint, the look and feel. Let's say in our organization for customer which we are building this SailPoint, they have the different look and feel and theme, right? Let's say they use yellow color theme, or let's say green, red, whatever, different color scheme they use, right? So how can we change this look and feel? So this is just for your understanding purpose. I don't think so you will ever get chance to do this in your project. It's very rare, because this thing we do only one time when we set up the first project for the organization, and this this effort is like 30 minutes effort is maximum is required, right? But let me show you how we do this. We have to change this image, right? So for this, what we need to do, you will see this branding folder here, right? And this is a logo I want to use. Okay, so go to your SailPoint. web apps, INTIQ, WebNF. No, web apps, INTIQ. Search your UI, user interface. We search for images folder. This is the images SailPoint user. What you need to do, copy this, right click properties. You have to create a new image, right? Whatever image you want to use, create a new image, use the same name and use the same dimension, 66 by 658 or similar. It should be similar, right? So what I did, I download this images, rename it the same way and also use the similar kind of dimension. You see, it's not exact similar, it's a big difference, but it will work, right? Same with the top logo. Copy this to file and replace here. Because file are same name, so it will be replaced. See, so now login logo is this, top logo is this. Go to your SailPoint. This will read this images from the cache, right? So go to incognito and see this. Hey, it's still not working. Okay, let me clear the cache. Yep. You see, the top logo and this main logo is changed. Right? This is called branding. We are putting our organization branding on this tool. Same way, this look and feel, right? This color scheme also I want to change. Right? For that, in the same branding folder, you will see this UI custom file. Okay. This file has some code. Now go back to your Tomcat UI. And here you will see CSS. CSS stands for cascading style sheet. CSS is the basically a scripting language through which basically we add the styles on the web pages. All this basically what you see on the browser, everything is called web pages. So here using the CSS we can apply. In the CSS you will see one file UI custom, user interface custom. By default it's blank. So we need to add customization here. So here I have done some customization. This is all this code actually provided by the SailPoint. You have to just copy this as it is. Let's say to change login welcome text color, use this line. What color you need? Simply go to browser HTML color code. Open any website and generate the colors here. Example, I need this kind of color. That's I need little yellow like this and this shade. So copy this code here and add here. Save this. Now go to your SailPoint. Clear the cache. See this welcome color is changed. Same way you can apply changes to other functions, other tabs also. This is login form change. You see the login form button, this, all the stuff is changed. Right? Same way, I want to change this look and feel of this, all these pages. This navy blue color I want to change. So for that, what I'll do, I'll copy this code here. All this code you can get from internet, any code. Okay, this is the drop down text color, drop down text background, right? Copy this. Like this. Again, clear the cache. If you see, the look and feel is changed here. This concept is called branding. Okay, you will get all these questions, whatever I covered just now, you'll get all this question in your IQ certification exam. There is one more question you will get. What we should not change? We should never change this copyright sign. You can change anything, but you should never change this copyright sign. Okay. Any question? Anyone?
Yeah, just but in real time, like if we are working any client, that will be need to be changed, right?
No, this you cannot change. So you are using, some licensed product, right? So how can you change this?
So when we are building like Franklin Templeton, so where I want to use that SailPoint, so at that time, like I can give all that Franklin Templeton's one, right? We suppose at that time, suppose it should not display this one, right?
No, this is what SailPoint is saying, right? This is the product is owned by the SailPoint, so you cannot change the copyright sign. It's a legal representation, right? So that you cannot change. The look and feel you can change.
Okay. Okay, Rahul. Thank you.
Because as a company, right, they have not purchased. So that's for example, my customer is using SailPoint. So this is a licensed product they are using. They are not owning this organization, SailPoint, right? So when we use a licensed product, right? So somewhere the company, right, they will put their name from the legal perspective, right? So this is the copyright sign they want to show here. Apart from this, they said, okay, the logo, look and feel, the color, if you want, you can change this.
Okay, Rahul.
Any other question, anyone?
I haven't not deleted this one. Can I ask or you can ask
Yes,
last?
sure.
So I'm not able to because I'm not tagged with any SailPoint product. So how I can able to access Rahul or Compass?
Okay, so your organization is partner or vendor of SailPoint.
Yeah, yeah.
So you can create as account on Compass with your organization email address.
But my organization is like we have an end client, right?
This is
So
the
not an
first question I asked. Your
uh,
organization is partner or vendor. You said yes.
okay. Mhm.
If your organization is partner or vendor, then you can do. But if you're not fulfilling the first question requirement, that you cannot create account. So in case if you want to access Compass community, honestly speaking, I mean, when you are new, anyone is new, right? It's a kind of excitement. We want to see, okay, what is there, but actually it's nothing there. It's just a documentation and question answer forum is there. That's it. And nowadays, mostly people don't ask questions because this community is very old.
Okay.
Any other question here, anyone?
Rahul, I have a question, but not regarding this topic. Can I share here or later I can we can connect?
Okay, let me end this session. 1 second.